Hello. Happy Tuesday. Today is 10/28. How are you guys today? How was your Tuesday? How's your start to the week? Hi, Mandy. Hi, Bianca. How are you guys? I was already messing with audio and picture. StreamYard has already kicked me off twice and I hadn't even been live yet. So I don't know what the heck is going to go on with this stream. Hi, Christina. Hi, Pumpkin. Hey, Hot Pie. Hey, Pumpkin. I haven't seen you in a minute. How are you? Hey, Carol. How are you guys? We'll give it a few minutes. Hey, Pokey. How are you? I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. So before we get started, which we'll give it a few minutes still, but everything is alleged and our opinion only. Have you guys found out any new information this week on anything that's good that you want to talk about? Because I've got a bunch of stuff, but it's kind of all over the place. So, but we'll get through it. We'll have some wonderful combo today. Anything new? Anything new? All right, Pokey. Thanks for stopping by. Enjoy your dinner. No texting and driving again, ma'am. Ma'am. So I was thinking yesterday, and I think it would be cool to take this and add it as a sound bite to my phone. And every time my phone rings, it would say,
I paid that bill.
wouldn't that be awesome? I paid that bill. You're not driving this time? Oh, you have a chauffeur. A chauffeur. I paid that bill. Speaking of which, I wanted to talk about restitution just a little bit today because I heard on Birdie's channel, I'm pretty sure it was Birdie and DA, Devil's Advocate, yesterday, talking about, you can get that, Bianca? Thank you. A private driver, I believe you. So hoity-toity. So Birdie and DA yesterday were talking about a little bit about restitution. And I know that DA had said something along the lines of, I don't understand why Brian is fighting the restitution. And I think I kind of disagree with him on that. You know, DA was kind of like, just pay it. You're in jail anyways. You might as well just pay it. That's what they're asking for. You're stuck. You can get a job and, you know, some of it'll go to that. And my question was, or I guess my comment was, if Brian Koberger gets money on his commissary, do they take it for that? I think they're allowed to take a percentage of commissary when you owe restitution. Let's do the googs. So yeah, so I understand why he would fight it, especially if he is not the one who committed this crime, because it says that yes, a percentage of commissary funds can be taken to pay restitution when an inmate owes debt. And that is why I would assume he's fighting it, aside from, you know, not being the perpetrator. But that's beside the point. It says, oh, that's for federal, which I don't understand why it's not federal. I don't understand why this case isn't federal. It says they can garnish 50% of all deposits for restitution. Now, that would be a lot, especially because if you're doing 4 life sentences plus 10 years, you know, that's a long time. Anybody who would send him money then for commissary, they'd be able to take 50% of everything, especially, or then again, if he has a job, then they would take that as well. And, you know, as you're doing 4 life sentences plus 10 years, you know, I would think that a lot of people in your life would start to kind of drop off, right? And people start to, you know, forgetting that you're in there. Unfortunately, that's just kind of how it is, I think. So, excuse me, at the end of the day, it would be mostly his family and parents or sisters or, you know, whoever, maybe a friend here and there that would be sending him money. Hey, Fizzy, how are you? So, you know, as time goes on, I would expect him to get less and less commissary, and then they would take 50% of everything you get. I guess I would understand that that's why he's fighting it. And honestly, I think he's fighting it rightfully so, even aside from that point, because technically restitution is for specific things, right? Like travel costs or what else was it? Travel costs, lodging. Excuse me. Where'd I put it? I put a list of them. Oh my gosh, where'd I put it? There's a whole bunch of things that restitution goes for, obviously, other than just court stuff, but it's supposed to, pay back the family for all different stuff. And the thing is, I feel like I feel like the things that restitution would technically go for, it was already provided to them or given to them in it was already given to them in the like GoFundMe's and things like that. I mean, most families raised $100K or better, or 100,000K or better. So I don't know. I'm kind of torn with it, I guess. I understand the principle of it. Like, we're never trying to diminish the fact that there are victims. We're not trying to victim blame or be rude to the family or anything like that. That's not our point over here. Excuse me. Our point is just to get to the truth so the victims can have justice. It's not like we're trying to fight for them. Oh, Brian Koberger should never have to pay restitution. Nobody should have to pay restitution. It's not about that. To me, it's just the principle that the things you needed the restitution for, or the reasons it was granted, has already been paid for, I believe, with GoFundMe's and donations. So why are we paying it twice? Why does he have to pay as well? I don't know. Fizzy. Hey, Steven. I will, Steven. I'll let Bronx come over here. He's been sleepy today. He's knocked out on his own bed today. Fizzy, on a side note, I need to request that you do a makeup tutorial for the daytime smoky look you're rocking. I can never get mine right. You know what it is, Fizzy? I'll give you the tip. It's don't try and place it anywhere. Just put your brush in it and just let it do its thing. Don't try and be too precise. That's when you're like, oh, I messed up and this one doesn't match this one. And yeah, you just gotta, hey, Moto, good to see you. 27 something $1,000 covers one hell of a road trip. It sure does. Thank you, Moto. I wanted to, oh my God, what am I doing with my life? Hold on. I'll just Google it. Sorry. Because I had a list of things. Counseling, lost income, property damage, funeral costs, other crime-related costs, stuff like that. I feel like the donations have already paid for all of that. So why are we getting it twice? Not that they're not deserving of whatever they ask for. I just think that they should probably just wait and find the people who actually did this to get the restitution. That's just my opinion. Mandy, Dylan should give her GoFundMe funds to the families. I know, right? Don't get me started on that one. That's a lot of money. And each family got a lot of money. And at what point are we more worried about money than the principle of this case? Why does everything have to surround or, be about money when it comes to anything that happens in anybody's life? Everybody's trying to get money for it. And in this case, I feel like it's the same. I understand the point of restitution. I just don't think it should be paid twice. And I don't think that it should be paid by somebody who can't pay it, who's locked up for the rest of their life, and for somebody who could have possibly not done this. So that's just my opinion on the restitution. And we do have a restitution hearing coming up on the 5th as well. And I'm really interested in that. Before I get into some other things, I do want to say that I am digging into an angle right now. And I want to let you guys know that, because I try and be transparent, and I want to look into really, really deep dive into Steve Gonsalves' brother, Nathan, his victim and the family. I'm sure some people have looked into it. I just don't know how far anybody got. So I do want to spend a little bit of time, not like live. We're not doing a live dig on it or anything. I was just letting you know on my own. I want to dig a little bit deeper into that angle. Just saying. Also, speaking of I paid that bill, I wonder if Steve Gonsalves's brother paid any restitution, because I tried to look for it, and the only case I could find that there was restitution, it said $500. So I'm not sure if maybe his victim's life was only worth $500 or not, but just saying. It's a little off balance, wouldn't you say? No way. You guys, guess who's here? Monty, where have you been? It has been so long. I am so glad to see you, Monty. In case anybody knows, Monty was like my first like actual sub of real life. So, and he's been missing. He's been missing. Hey, Texas Ranger. Somebody said something that I missed. 115K with donations up to two days ago. Whose was that? Was that Dylan's? Well, what's funny is Fizzy says, what trauma did she suffer? Honestly, if she didn't know anything happened, why she didn't call 911 ASAP? Well, right. So I know there was an interview not too long after the crime happened with, it was a male, and it was supposedly one of Dylan's friends' boyfriends. I don't know if you guys remember this interview. And he was like, and now I don't know if this interview was who they say they are. I don't know if anybody vetted it, but he said, Dylan's just fine. Why are you guys acting like that? You know, she laughs about it and says it doesn't bother her and whatever he said. I'm just paraphrasing, but I don't know if anybody remembers that, and I don't know if it was actually real, but oh, I'm sure he will pay. I'm sure he will. I'm sure they'll make him pay. I don't doubt that at all. You think it sounded fake? Yeah, I wasn't sure. I listened to it a couple of times and I was like, I'm not sure. Sometimes I can tell. Hey, speaking of being not sure if anybody's vetted, again, everything is alleged in our opinion only. What was I going to say? Who the dot interview. Did you guys get to the bottom? This was before I came about. Did anybody get to the bottom of her being legit and vetted or not? And also, wasn't her name Peterson saying that she was communicating with Brian? Was that one vetted? Does anybody know if either of those two people were found out to be real or fake, legit or not? I'm just curious. Okay. Let's see. Oh, that's what I wanted to talk about for sure. Okay. Let me look. Let me add this to the screen because I want to talk about this for a second. Who said that? Jules goes crazy spaz over Dot. I saw some of that. That is hilarious to me. I honestly, I love when Jules freaks out like that. Cuz I do not want to be on the other side of her anger ever. Yeah, I mean, I get that, but so Texas Ranger says he should have never said guilty. That was bad on his part. I think at that point he didn't have a choice. I really don't. I think he wasn't going anywhere, especially with a trial. Thank you, Bianca. Bianca sent one gifted. Thank you. I appreciate that, Bianca. Oh, Bianca, I never used the baby, you know, when you made that thing for me with the baby and Bronx, baby Logan, baby Bronx. I'm going to do a pre-recorded tomorrow and I'm going to use it. I was just giving you guys a heads up because I'm really excited about it. Yeah, he had to say guilty. He didn't have a choice. He absolutely did not have a choice. Whoops, wrong button. Mine is on your channel? I have it. Thank you, Bianca, for doing that as well, because I really appreciate it. And I realized I never ended up using it. And I was like, oh my gosh, I forgot about that. I'm going to use it tomorrow. All right. Okay. So I want to share this, and I don't know how long I can have this on the screen, but I'm going to share it anyway and pray for the best. Dun, 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 dun. All right. So, let's see. Whoa, my bad. Okay. Do you guys remember what this is? So a while ago, I did a pre-recorded. Who are we congratsing to? I need to know. Hi, Elizabeth. How are you? Mandy, did you get the gifted? Aw. It's you. You're the problem. It's you. Okay, so I want to get into this. Do you guys remember this picture that I showed? If you can't tell what it is, I will explain it. So in a pre-recorded many moons ago, no, about maybe 2 months ago, I shared this picture because it was shared with me from a subscriber. Hey, Denise. I haven't seen you in the live chat in a while. Welcome. Good to see you. So I used this picture from somebody that sent it to me showing that this was the injury she received after using a gun, from the recoil. Oh, a pew pew. My bad. Dang it. A pew pew from the recoil. Hey, Jeff. Hey, Jeff. Hey, Jeff. How are you? Jeff H. Jeff H. I find, just so you know, Jeff H., I find the banter between you and Birdie pure entertainment. It's so comical to me. That and when Birdie has banter with Detective Mowry. Hey, Anna P. How are you? All right. So this picture is the injury that happened after the recoil of a gun. I think she was like training. I want to say maybe like a army military type thing. I want to say, and that's on her shoulder. So this is the kickback from a gun. I mean, a pew pew. I did it again. What is wrong with me? Why am I like this? Okay, so this is the kickback from a pew pew. And I thought that maybe because of the way the pattern is with the stripes in it and the description that the G's stated on Kaylee's face and how they said that, her teeth were knocked out and there were striped pattern bruises or marks around her mouth, that they thought was from an object which created the blunt force, right? So my initial thought was, oh, that's got to be the butt of a pew pew with some sort of striped pattern on it. And then that's when this subscriber shared this picture with me and said, hey, I didn't think of that. That's really possible because here's mine from the kickback. So my question is, we know that Kaylee had 2 hematomas in her head. And my question is, wouldn't we see a pattern similar to what was on her face if the same weapon was used on the entire head? I mean, so it brings me to the question, was it a different weapon that created the blunt force to the top of her head or the back of her head or wherever those 2 other wounds were? I'm just curious what your guys' thought is on if it was the butt end of a pew pew and that's all that it was, wouldn't you see the same pattern throughout rather than just by her mouth? And if you don't, then my guess would be it was a different weapon used, maybe by a different person fighting at the same time. I would expect to see the same pattern if it was the same weapon. And if it's a different thing, because again, ISP stated that it was not done with the person's hands, right? The person didn't use their hands to create that much damage on her head. It looks like the bottom of a shoe. Yeah, it does kind of look like it does. It could pass for that. It's not. This is the butt end of a pew-pew. I shared this maybe 2 months ago or so. Steven says, yes, they claim that Kaylee had signs of gag and restrained. So why was this never brought up in a court hearing? Yeah, I think a lot of that was suppressed on purpose. I think that, and that's part of the reason that Brian Koberger would have never had a chance at trial. And now that I keep digging and digging and digging, it started to click that to me that there was never going to be a trial, you guys. It was never going to happen. Yeah, Jeff. I'm going to remove this, you guys, just in case. I don't want to get shut down over here. I'm going to remove this just for now. But I do want to talk about that, and I do want to know your guys' thoughts, because we know it was blunt force. We know it was an object. But if the patterns aren't the same from the ones back here to the ones here on her face, then I would think it would be a different weapon. And I don't think that Brian Koberger or anybody else is walking around a house with 6 people there where he's never been and carrying 87 different weapons. Like, I just don't understand it. He doesn't have something to create blunt force on the top of her head, and then a different one for her mouth, and then a knife, and then a knife sheath, and then a vacuum, and what was the other one? Whatever else. They're saying he's now carrying around all these different weapons, a change of clothes. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't think that's happening. So if it was a different object used for blunt force, to me, that would say it was possibly used by a completely different person, especially doing all of this. And what has it been narrowed down to? 90 seconds, 3 minutes, whatever it's been narrowed down to. Thanks, Monty. I appreciate you. See, Monty, this is why I missed you. We can do better. I paid that bill. Bow and arrow. That's what it was. Knife blades, change of clothes, possibly a shower curtain. Who knows? I just don't think that one person is walking around carrying all of this. And I think I touched on this the other day. I saw on Pav's channel that he had things from a report that said there was possible red fluid on light switches. So now he's carrying all these weapons, doing all of this in a house he's never been in, doesn't know the layout, doesn't know who's there. He could have walked in there and it could have been 10 men in there, all of them with pew-pews waiting for him. Like, you just don't know. He's doing all of this, turning on lights, turning off lights, like all in like 3 minutes. That is impressive. Isn't that so funny, Mandy? I so want to do that. I want to turn this into a soundbite and use it as a ringtone. Whoops. I paid that bill. Jeff H says, the K-bar knife, being a hammer and a knife, makes for a powerful unaliving weapon. Knock them out first and then sharp force at the end. I just don't see, I understand, I hear you. I just don't see how the K-bar itself could have made those type of wounds to the mouth, though. Wouldn't you almost have to hold it like, I don't understand how the end that you hold can make that type of pattern on the face. I don't get it. Brian was Shredder from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Sounds like it. Who's in here? Who did I just see? Hey, Translucent. Good to see you. Good to see you, ma'am. Well, I think that's what a lot of people expected, especially when we heard plea deal, right? So Texas Ranger says the DA shouldn't have been so easy and they should have asked for the weapon. I personally thought that should have been part of the plea deal. Why would it not have? That doesn't even make sense to not ask for, oh, by the way, can you let us know where the weapon is or what you used and where you put it, please? I would think you would have to have him actually admit, rather than say, yeah, guilty. Yeah, I did it. He would have to give some sort of proof to show that he did it. There are lunatics out there. I'm not saying Brian Koberger's a lunatic. I'm just saying there are lunatics out there who admit to crimes that they didn't do, like just randomly. I remember like the JonBenet Ramsey case. Remember there was some guy like in a different country that was like, I did it. It was me. Like, why would you do that? So I would think just for the mere fact of that, you would ask for proof that he actually did it. Give us every detail of every, you know what I'm saying? Every minute you were in there that night, give us every detail. We want everything. And the fact that he didn't, yeah, a reenactment, anything. The fact that he didn't and they didn't make him, it's the fact they didn't ask him or make him. And then their excuse was, Bill Thompson says, well, we just figured he wasn't going to be honest anyway. What? Ask. I mean, when an officer pulled him over, and I know it's not that, you know, the same, but the officer was like, did you have your seatbelt on? And he's like, huh? No. I mean, he was honest about it. And I know it's a different level, but you still should have to ask. He should still have to prove some sort of proof that he was there, he did it, and then they need to make it fit, or, you know, whatever he says, they need to prove that that's how it happened. It doesn't matter. Like, Bronx is snoring. I don't know if you guys can hear him. I'm missing so many comments today. Dun, dun, dun. Yep. Carol nailed it. Don't forget rule number 1. You only ask questions you know the answer to. Oops. Hey, Miss Shunty or Shante. I still do that. I'm sorry. I'm not sure which one it is. When he's compared to Bundy, I disagree because of Ethan. I disagree that he's compared to Bundy, period. It just doesn't, I get the point, but I feel like it's a super duper reach to constantly compare him to Bundy. That's the thing. Other than, hey, Sally, other than acting like he's wearing hoodies because of Ted Bundy, when Ted Bundy wore turtlenecks. Like, to me, that's and that they were in college and then he went to visit the same park or whatever. Like, okay, it's in the area. Other than that, I don't see any ties to Bundy at all. Thank you, Monty. Monty says, how's little Bronxy doing? Yellow Dog loves Bronxy. Bronxy's good. He's snoring. How is Yellow Dog? How is Yellow Dog's ears specifically? More importantly, thank you so much. I appreciate you, Monty. Fizzy says, did Bundy ever sharp force anyone? I can't remember. I feel like no. And I could be wrong. Let me Google it, though, just to make sure, because I don't want to be a liar. Did Bundy ever... Based on confessions and forensic evidence, Ted Bundy's primary methods of unaliving were bludgeoning and strangulation, not sharp force. Yeah. So no, he had a whole MO with like the whole strangulation thing. And I don't think I can say that word, but that's okay. Steven says, did Kaylee, thank you, Steven. I appreciate you. Did Kaylee's autopsy mention her teeth and face injuries? So I thought we had more detailed information on the autopsies, and I can't find it anywhere. That must have been something somebody FOIA'd because I can't find it. And I know that Jules talked about it, and I tried to pull some information from there, but I ended up getting distracted. Sorry, guys. So the only autopsy information that I know of is the stuff that we already have. And I think they added a little bit more to it, but nothing like what you would expect to see or the details you would expect to get from a detailed autopsy report. I don't remember ever seeing anything about her teeth or anything like that. That specifically came from the G's, I believe. That's my understanding. I don't have anything that says that. Let's see. Hi, James. How are you? Good to see you. Did I see Guitar Tech in here? Hi, Liv. Good to see you. Did I see Guitar Tech? If so, I just wanted to say hi. I'm not sure if I did. Can anybody hear Bronx? This is crazy. I've never heard him snore like this. Okay, so I have a couple more things. Obviously, we're only 30 minutes in. Let me just run through the comments real quick. I have like 80 of them. I mean, I suppose I should go into hiding because we're all going to be accused of committing crimes and doing it because we're obsessed with Ted Bundy. It's ridiculous. It's so stupid. It's so stupid for mainstream media to like narrow in on that and just constantly talk about that or compare him to that. Like, don't you have something? Can't you get some more information on the case? Can't you dig into like actual details of the case rather than focusing so much on Brian Koberger's hoodie? Like, my goodness. You can't hear Bronxy? My goodness, he's so loud. Okay. He does not snore in my ear. Okay. Wait a minute, translucent Miss Ma'am, says Jeff. You still gonna show up in chats if Olivia gets arrested? When is she getting arrested and for what? Misuse of Ozempic? Just kidding. That's alleged anyways. So, all right, let me share this. I want to talk about this a little bit. Oh, translucent. I know that in a lot of other channels, I think people are not like they're not nice to Jeff H, and we are nice to him over here. I'm sure you're just messing with him, but we actually are nice to him over here. I know other channels aren't the nicest to Jeff H, but we like to mess with him over here on Jeff H. All right, let me share this because I want to talk about this, and I'm just going to use Miss Potts. Miss Potts. Can we put Miss Potts' channel in here? Somebody, please. Thank you so much. We're going to use her page because I do want to talk about this. I don't know if I can make this any bigger. Let me see. Oh, so we can make it smaller, though. Okay. Anyways, you guys can see it. So, that didn't work. Did it? No. Okay. You guys can see it, though, right? Because I don't really want to mess with it. So I wanted to talk about these pictures, and I didn't have time after work to grab the actual screenshots of the crime scene pictures. So I'm just going to use little Miss Ma'am Potts's. But I want to talk about your opinion on some of the things we see in these pictures, specifically on the wall. Does anybody else think that there could have been pew-pew shots in the wall? So when I very, very first saw these pictures, I noticed that there was something on the wall. And I know somebody else noticed and said, it looks like somebody stabbed the wall. And my first thought was, or it could be bullet holes. And I was just curious if anybody else has seen this or thought about it. I don't know if this picture in particular has bullet holes in the wall. I don't know how long I can sit on this picture either because there's red fluid everywhere. To me, this looks like somebody was obviously fighting in this corner. And to me, it looks like they were trying to use the nightstand to maybe like push off and stand themselves up. And I thought maybe, like, this is how my mind pictured it, was that whatever fight was going on with Ethan, now that we know there was a struggle with Ethan, right? Because for the longest time, up until a couple weeks ago, mainstream media and police were saying that Ethan was basically asleep. And I highly doubt that because of the wounds on the backs of his legs. Also, there's been talk of post-mortem wounds, which is very interesting. I don't know how true that is, but I have heard people talk about that, which is possible. Anyways, my brain looks at this and says, okay, maybe with the fight with Ethan, he kind of maybe tripped and fell over in this area and it was coming out while he's on the floor, like maybe hands and knees type style. And he's using the nightstand to try and maybe pull himself up and then ends up falling back on the bed when he is, when it's basically over for him. And I didn't know if anybody else kind of thought like that. Other than that, I don't know what else I see here. Like what it's telling me basically is what I'm trying to say. A lot of people think that it could be Xana's. And for some reason, I think it's Ethan's. I'm not sure why I think that. I just do. And you know what would be really, really nice is if we knew whose red fluid this was, because they should be able to tell us, right? Stephen. Let's see. All right, I'm going to flip through some of these pictures and see what you guys think as far as what I see on the wall. All right. Jeff H says, oh, he's talking to Fizzy. Sorry. I thought you were talking to me. My bad. My bad. All right. Yes, Miss Potts' channel is in the chat in case anybody doesn't subscribe to her. I suggest that you do. I know she's got some really long lives and I try and tune in here and there, but I like a lot of the information she puts out. A lot of her posts are really good. So check her out if you haven't. I thought of that too. Carol says, my question is, if Ethan was so trashed, why was he naked? And I thought about that and I was like, well, I don't know. Maybe him and Xana were about to have a nightcap. I mean, I don't know because she didn't have pants on. But then I think but they just ordered food. But then I go back and I'm like, okay, what if they weren't the ones who ordered food? You know what I'm saying? Like, what if that was the way they got in? It's just a possibility. At this point, anything's possible, but I don't know. I'm not sure why he would have no clothing on other than that. I don't know. I'm not a guy, so do men sleep naked usually? I'm not sure. But yes, he was. And I'm not sure why. Mandy says, I don't think they ordered food. I'm getting to the point where I'm like, I don't think so either. I think everybody uses the time that it starts at 4:00 and then they want to, switch it for the car that shows up after the first car and say 4:07 or whatever it was now. But a lot of people still refer to it as the 4:00 hour. A lot of law enforcement still refers to it as the 4:00 hour, even though I still think it was even before that, honestly. But the 4:00 hour is when the food was dropped out, specifically 3:59. So, I wondered that too. I always wondered if she dropped it in the back or in the front. I know that she had that whole story. Fizzy says, I also wonder where exactly Molly dropped off the food. And my initial thought was in the back, but then I was like, no, because who would do that? Like, I don't picture myself being a DoorDasher if I ever was one. Like pulling up to the back of somebody's house on a hill, walking down the hill and setting it at their back step, unless, of course, they were specific about where to put it when they ordered it. But then again, it had Xana's name on it and they are trying to say it was from Ethan's phone. So I don't know. That I still think that's a mess. Everything's a mess. So then I think, well, it had to be in the front, right? But I don't know. I would think if it was in the front. I mean, do DoorDashers knock at all? Do they ring doorbells? I'm not sure. I would think that if they did, Bethany would hear it for sure. I would think Dylan would hear it too. So I'm not sure where she dropped off the food. I'm not sure that she did drop off food. I'm not sure that possibly wasn't the way some people gained entry into the home. I mean, if you think about it, it's a good little plan if that's what you're trying to do. If that's your goal is to try and get into somebody's house, get a burner phone, make a fake account, and I don't know, order DoorDash. There you go. Or a fake order to DoorDash to their house. Ding dong, I have some food. I paid that bill. Thank you, Moto. Moto says if Molly had another person in the car that was at the back while Molly distracted at the front, that could be something. Well, honestly, I do think, and I've said that since we found out about Molly and all that stuff, I do think she had somebody else with her. And I'm pretty sure it came out of her own mouth where she said she doesn't DoorDash alone. So she did have somebody with her. That, in my opinion, my brain calls that fact, but it's really just my opinion. I paid that DoorDash bill. Oh my gosh, I'm going to be saying that for the rest of my life. Liv says the reports have friends stating the sliding door was used more like a front door. So maybe it was instructed or they were told that this is the best door for entry. Possibly. I know that roommates previous had said they used the back door, right? And then it came, and then one of the roommates, I don't know if it was Dylan or Bethany, or it could have been like an Ashlyn or Josie. I thought one of them said they used to always use the back door, but now we mainly use the front door, or vice versa. It could be vice versa. Everybody used to use the front door, but now people mostly just use the back door. I'm not sure. Hi, good to see you. I don't know how to pronounce your name, but hello. Steven. Let me see. Steven? Where did you hear that from? Get the heck out of here. I need your source, sir. Steven says, I heard Xana's stomach content contained the DoorDash order. Well, I suppose she could have eaten a couple of French fries because the French fry container was like a quarter of the way gone, wasn't it? Maybe somebody did eat them. Well, or maybe they ate the DoorDash when they were cleaning up. Maybe Dylan and Bethany, in my opinion, allegedly, don't come for me, got hungry as they were cleaning. I'm not sure. Translucent says, by the way, Lana has the Payne Molly interview. I think she's showing it in a couple hours. Sweet. Ooh, that's good. That'll give me something to watch. Wait, you said the Payne Molly and oh yes, that's gonna be so good. Okay, sweet. Thank you for letting me know, Translucent. That's awesome. Shut up, Moto. Moto says maybe Xana was unalive by asphyxiation by French fry. Stop it. Maybe that's what Hunter thought, though. Maybe that's what Hunter thought, and that's why they said an unconscious person. Who knows? Lana's at 8. 8. What time? Where's she at? Ohio? Okay. Chief Fry. Stop it. That is hilarious. Oh my gosh. Okay, let me flip through these pictures. Sorry, because I probably shouldn't have them just sitting here anyways. So I saw this. I don't even know if you guys can see my cursor, but I saw this little hole in the wall. Not sure. Well, at first I wasn't sure if it was a hole, a red fluid smear, or something else. But it's hard because these supposed crime scene photos, which is still absurd to me that we can't get a day and time stamp on any crime scene photo, which I've never seen in my life. I know that these were taken with their cell phones, but why would they give us cell phone pictures as professional crime scene photos rather than just date and time stamped crime scene photos with the, the big camera? Like the real camera that you would use? I don't understand. I'm not understanding why we're getting cell phone photos as crime scene photos, number 1. Okay? Number 2, I'm not sure what you guys see or what your opinion is, but this mark on the wall that's really blurry. Again, I don't know if it's blood, a hole, or something else stuck to it. I don't know. But if you look up to the right of that little mark that I was just talking about, there's 3 little marks here. And I don't know if those are smudges or if they are, oh, that's not going to let me zoom in either. I don't think it would help if I zoomed in anyways. It's extra blurry. I don't know if those could be pew pew holes or even above the wall. I don't know. That red fluid pattern above the pillows looks really strange to me. It looks almost not real. Anybody else? I'm sorry. I missed the comment on where you got the source, Stephen. Let me scroll back up. Sorry, guys. Bear with me. I am all over the place today, but it's okay. We'll get there. Oh, you don't recall what channel? Don't you hate when that happens? You hear something good and then you can't remember what channel you heard it on. I have some things I wanted to talk about that I did the same thing and I couldn't find it. Oh, it should be very, very interesting. Molly's interview. I cannot wait for this. Does anybody know, did she FOIA for this interview or did it come out another way? Live. Oh my goodness. It didn't actually. Very good question, Carol. I love this question. In the autopsy, we know that it said Xana had a bagged foot or I'm not sure if it was left or right. And for some reason, I want to say right, but I could be wrong, that her right foot was bagged. And Xana was the only one out of all of them that had a bagged foot. So no, it didn't necessarily say if her foot was attached. However, if my memory serves correct, I want to say the autopsy report said that they did a wet and dry sample on the foot that was bagged. If I'm not mistaken, I could be very, very wrong. But I want to say they did that doesn't mean that it was actually the foot though, like if you want to get technical, I'm not sure. I get where you're going with it and I've heard the things of what you're talking about. So I don't know. I haven't dug into that. I can, but I haven't dug into that yet as far as why only her foot was bagged rather than anybody else's. Yeah. No actual details, which is wild to me that the autopsy report, I mean, as far as what we've gotten, have pretty much no detail. I haven't seen another autopsy report like that before. It's missing a lot. Let's see. One second, guys. Just looking through the comments real quick. Okay, so Elizabeth says, I think it's blood, red fluid on the wall. Because look how the large dark spot of red fluid is on the carpet below. Wait, carpet? Isn't that hardwood? I'm pretty sure that's hardwood, girlfriend. I hear what you're saying, though. Yeah, it could be. I don't know. It definitely could be red fluid rather than anything that's going through the wall. But it's hard to tell, really, because then we get here. And I'm curious. Oh, okay. I see it now. That makes sense. Okay. So I said earlier how Pav on one of his videos, it showed that there was possible red fluid samples taken from light switches and it had the direction. And I want to say one of them was actually in Kaylee's room. Please don't quote me. I could be very, very wrong. I'd have to go back and look. But if you see, that is the light switch and there is a little speck of red fluid on there. So maybe they got it from there. And then one somewhere else. I'd have to go back and look and see what other light switch it was. I want to say it was in Kaylee's room, though. Could be wrong. But to me, there's a couple marks on here, which could be from fighting. Maybe not necessarily a pew hole here. I always find this pattern so interesting just because the red fluid is going everywhere, every direction. And like I talked about before, when you have spatter, depending on the direction of the force is then going to, the blood, or the red fluid, the red fluid is going to land on the surface. And as it lands, it's going to create a tail. because of the velocity and the direction and, all that good stuff. And to me, it looks like there's red fluid with tails that are going in all different directions here, which could be indicative of a fight. It could be indicative of more than one perpetrator too. So I'm going to be quick with this one because I don't have much to say about this one, and we've already gone over these, but I was just looking to see if we could find pew pew. Nope. So just curious if anybody else thinks that any of the marks that we see could be from a pew pew. There is a picture, and I don't think I would be able to find it right now. There is a picture when you walk in the front door. It looks like there are possible holes in the wall down there that could be from a pew pew, which would also explain Bethany's statement of the flash and the bang. But I'm not going to dig for that picture right now, but I'm pretty sure that's what I see. I'm not sure though. You don't see bullet holes? Okay. I was just wondering. I know that once upon a time I thought I saw some, but who knows? I could have been digging way too long and gone crazy. What else was I going to talk about? I don't think I need any of those screens. Okay. Let's see. Oh, I saw, speaking of hearing something and not remembering where you found it, I heard an interview with somebody, could have been the Barnharts, could have been a family member, not exactly sure. It was a couple of days ago and it was not new, I don't believe, but somebody stated something about having Brian Koberger's movements between 3 and 5 a.m. And I was so confused because I was like, I thought you guys said his phone was off. How do you have his movements then? I thought that was the whole contention here, is that his phone was off, so you don't know exactly where he was. And I heard somebody say that they know his movements in that exact time. So I was so confused why somebody would say that. Liv says it is weird they took only one part of the wall, or why would this be necessary? Do you know how many items of evidence that they did not take? That they didn't take at all? That they only ended up going to get because Ann Taylor requested it. Do you know what those items are? Some of those items are the blankets. Literally the blankets that were covered, or that were covered in red fluid, but also that were covering the victims. Ann Taylor had to ask for those. They had to go get them. The nightstand, I would think, like the headboard, if there's a headboard, I don't remember seeing one, but lots of things that you would think like, okay, the perp might have touched this, or there's spatter on this, or this is really close to the victim. Let's take this just in case we can get any sort of sample of anything or find anything. They didn't even take the blankets initially that were covering the victims. Isn't that ridiculous? Why would it not be necessary to touch the blood on a mattress? Why would it not be necessary, though? I mean, wouldn't you want to see if maybe a perpetrator injured themselves and their own red fluid is on there? That would make sense to me. I mean, if two people are on a bed and there's a fight and one of them is already unalived and the other's on the inside corner, maybe an unaliver had to get up on the bed. I mean, there might be hair follicles. There might be, I know you said test the mattress for red fluid, but there might be other things on the mattress itself. But specifically, I would test every drop of red fluid in that house, because you don't know if it came from a perpetrator that possibly got a wound, since there was a fight and supposedly there was a K-bar. I would test every drop of fluid in there, personally. That's just my opinion. But I mean, at this point, were they going to test it before or after it was put in a garage next to Brian Koberger's car and other things that would have Brian Koberger's DNA already on it? Stuff from his house and all sorts of stuff that was all next to the mattress that the victims were on in the same garage. It would be a really, really great place to look for alien hair. I completely agree. At this point, I wouldn't be surprised if it was a freaking alien who did this. Yeah, I don't know. Oh, LE deemed it unnecessary, specifically Moscow or ISP. I mean, figures, right? To them, everything was unnecessary except for it was Brian Koberger. That's funny. What else did I have for you guys today? I had one more thing I thought, but I could be wrong. Um, Gosh, Bronx is snoring so loud. So, so, so loud. Oh, let me see it. Sorry, I had two other pages. I'm just looking at this one page. I'm sorry. We did restitution, light switches. What time is it? Okay. Because there is somebody's channel I do want to watch here in a minute. We talked about that. We talked about, my question is, does anybody know why the families haven't done like a wrongful death or a pain and suffering or anything? I know that that's kind of going along with the restitution, and that's not involved in the restitution, in the paperwork and stuff that they have for the restitution. So I'm just curious if anybody has any idea maybe why they aren't going after pain and suffering or wrongful death. No, Carol, I still have to email you. Because I have a thought and I'm wondering if maybe, I doubt it would work, to be honest. I really doubt it would work, especially when you put in that address, when you make a request to anywhere, when you ask for something specific for that address, I feel like we're going to be denied anyway. But I have a thought. It probably won't work, but I'll email you. Thank you for reminding me. Nope, not yet. Pumpkin says they had no idea what weapons were used, and they let the roommates go and take a shower and wash off potential evidence such as red fluid or gunpowder. I agree. And did you hear when was Emily's interview actually? Did you hear that they let all of them not only stay together the whole time, which they should have been separated, but before they went down to the police station, they let them all go home and change clothes. All of them. Did you know that? Absurd. Absurd. The thing that bugs me upon many, many, many things that bug me is the fact that when the officers walk in, there is a male with a knife. I'm sure I can say knife, right? With a knife, whether it was on the floor, in his hand, in his pocket, in the bedroom, on the table, it doesn't matter. They get a call for an unconscious person. They come in, they're told that there's basically a crime scene type thing. I don't really know if Hunter went into detail or said I don't think he said anything in front of all the other people, but when they walked in there, I remember him saying something about I checked their pulse or whatever. So when the officers go in there and they see what they see, and you turn around and you have one male standing there that has a knife in their hand or wherever they put it, wouldn't you be like, whoa, what you have? Okay, there are people in here that have sharp force injuries and you, sir, have a knife in your hand. That was never a thing. They didn't question him at all. And again, I'm going to sit here and definitely beat a dead horse when I say, if Dylan and Bethany were males, they would be the ones sitting in jail right now, without a doubt. Especially after we find out that there's red fluid all over stuff in Bethany's room. If they were males, they would be in jail. Moto says, I think they're playing their cards to collect money to have more documents sealed. That could be a very, very possible. I don't even understand at this point. Well, I don't understand why things were sealed to begin with, right? Other than it being, basically a national case and stuff. Like I get some of it, but a lot of it I was like, this is ridiculous. But then how long they take to unseal things. And then when they do unseal it, it's redacted. So what's the point? Exactly, Mandy. Mandy says, why wasn't Hunter put in the back of the cop car? They put Jack back there. Why didn't they put Hunter back there? I would think he would be the first one to be put back there. Only because officers walk into I don't know, it just dawned on me. Is it because the officers knew what they were walking in on? And that's why things were handled the way they were handled from minute one? I know I'm getting really conspiracy-like, but it's hard not to. It's really hard not to. Reading comments. Sorry, guys. I mean, I guess if you're a guilter or somebody who hasn't really heard much on the case, it would sound super conspiracy-like. But after you've spent so much time digging into this information and you say things like that, I mean, you guys get it. It doesn't sound like a conspiracy to us, but if there's a guilter out there watching or anybody who's on the fence, it would sound kind of like that is a super read. That, sounds ridiculous. Live. It's based on reality over here. It is actually. It is. Because the things we find in the reports and the documents and everything sounds like it's fake. It sounds like it's fake. Some of it sounds like it's fake and made up. But you wouldn't know that unless you actually dig and read the documents yourself and put them together. And then you realize that, oh, this report that Payne made doesn't even match with this report that Payne also made. Like, what the heck? I who did that? Was it Birdie? That was something I was going to do, was look at the times on the body cams, because we know that Moto says, does the 911 call mesh with the body cams? And what I wanted to do was see what time the body cams at the house are recording them sitting around. I know it's the 12 o'clock hour and past that. I just don't know how far past that. To what time the interview starts with Emily. I think Emily's interview starts at like 1:43, I want to say. I could be wrong, but it's close to that. And I want to see if there's any, if the times match with when they're sitting outside to when they end up being inside, sitting down at the police station all together, not separated, and then starting to be interviewed. Oh, that's what I wanted to say to you guys. I totally forgot. I'm so excited I remembered. Okay, listen to this. Now, I cannot remember who made this comment on my channel, but it was a great comment. What if all of the faces are being redacted in the interviews still because the mouth movements isn't matching the words? Anybody? I thought that was a great idea. Like, what if? And I was like, oh my gosh, what if? I didn't even think about that. I was like, that's a great angle. I don't know. Denise, you think that the officers knew before? I mean, it would make sense. I mean, if you look at the actions they took or the lack of actions they took, it would make sense that there was already a narrative. There was already a plan. They already knew where it needed to go, which is why when they talked to Pullman the next day, well, later that day, however long ago or however long it took before they got or somebody from Pullman called, right? Called them. They didn't even reach out to Pullman and said, no, we don't need you. Is that because no? Let me look. I'm seeing Hunter. Miss Shanti says, "Who is Hunter? Hunter Johnson, uh, the one, the Emily's boyfriend, the tall, thin guy. That was the first to go into the house. First to go into the house after Dylan called Emily's phone. That Hunter, not Hunter Chapin. Hunter Johnson. Let's see." I wondered why faces were blurred. I did too. I kept saying, this is ridiculous. Why would their faces be blurred? You know, they're adults. They're agreeing to being interviewed, basically. If you look at any other questioning on any other case, they show it. Why would these people be blurred? And that's when somebody said, maybe it's because the mouth movements don't match with the words or what's being said. Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah, they don't want us reading their lips. Bad lip reading. Have you guys seen those? Those are hilarious. Bad lip reading. Let's see. Let's see. Hello, Ocean's Blue. Hello. Bronxy is snoring still. When you know, you know. The desktop and leg. Did I show it on, or did Miss Potts show it? Uno momento, por favor. Let's see. Oh, I don't need that tab. Hold on. Let me Google something really quick. Which table? Look, the desktop and leg in Xana's room. Let me see. Let's see. Desktop. Let me see if I can find it real quick. One moment. I'm hoping you're talking about in Xana's room because the desktop and leg. Ocean's Blue, help me out. Yep. Speaking of dumpsters, did the officers ever collect the garbage that was in the garbage in the backyard? Did they collect anything from that next to the slider? What do you guys think about Emily saying that Dylan told her she heard the slider door close behind him? What do you guys think about that? Yes, that is a good comment. Denise says Gunderson was talking to the one cop, I forgot his name, but he told Gunderson that he hadn't told them that they were unalived, and Gunderson said they already know. DM said, I'm scared. I won't say anything. Yes, they did say that. He did say that. Hi, Shelly with the good hair. How are you? Oh, I'm sure. I mean, are charging people with crimes that didn't commit them legal? I mean, really, though. Speaking of which, also DA, I believe it was, Devil's Advocate, made a comment that said, why is it that Ann Taylor had to have way more proof to even mention the words alternate perpetrator than they had to have proof on Brian Koberger to charge him with 4 unalivings? Why? Why did Ann Taylor have to have more proof to even mention the word alt perp than the prosecution had to have on Brian Koberger to charge him with this crime? Thank you, Bianca. Put devil's advocates in here. James says, could you start from the beginning? I never hear of this case. He. Welcome, guys. Today is no, I'm just kidding. You heard DA talking about that. I thought that was interesting point he made because it's so true. Why would she have to have more information to even mention the words alternate purpose? And that just tells me again, this case was never going to trial, you guys. It never was. Never was. Let's see. Sure was. Yep. Hitler was the state's biggest weapon. Sure was. I think Bill Thompson and Hitler were in cahoots completely, and obviously with other people too. I paid that bill. I have to turn that to my ringtone. That is so funny. Oh. Motor says no, they play the defense like a fiddle from the start. And I'm glad you just said that, because in the beginning, when we were having hearings and Ann Taylor was putting in her requests and things like that, I thought, oh, she's got this. Like, okay, I know why she's doing that. That makes sense. That would take her here, and that would be, a really good argument. Or I know why she's got this witness. That makes a lot of sense. I'm starting to think that there were times, if not the whole time, that the prosecution knew what move they would make, would turn around and then make Ann Taylor make a certain move. For instance, why wouldn't Ann Taylor request to have the trial moved out of county or, to a different venue? Anybody would ask for that, because you want to have the best chance of a jury pool as possible, people that don't know about the case. But did Bill Thompson know she would do that? Because who wouldn't, right? And then have it end up with Hitler, and now he's golden? Because Hitler denied every single time that Ann Taylor asked to take a breath. No, denied. Sit there and suffocate. So, I don't know. They did play the defense, because I was thinking, Ann Taylor's got this. She's got this. And then now that I look back, I'm like, no, it's not that she didn't have it because she's not good enough. I mean, I think she's excellent. I just don't think she stood a fighting chance. All right, guys. Where did that go? I think I'm going to hop off. I have a few things to do, so I'm going to hop off. I will have a pre-recorded for you guys tomorrow. It might be up later. More than likely tomorrow, though, because I still have a lot of editing to do. So I do want to head over and watch another channel real quick. So I'm going to let you guys go. That's what I wanted to talk about today. I have a few other things. I am digging into something else just to keep an eye out for that. Other than that, do something nice for yourself. Be kind, but more importantly, be kind to your animals. Aw, I miss you already too. Well, you'll get to see my face tomorrow, but I won't get to see yours. So I'll have a pre-recorded out for you tomorrow. I want to get back on the same schedule, just so you guys know, where I'm putting out a pre-recorded like every other day or every 3 days. I'm going to do that. So much love, Fizzy Fizzy. Bronx just got up. Hey, come here. Come here. Come here. Come here. Come here, bud. Look. Look, buddy. Hold on. Can you see him? There he is. Do you guys see him? Hi, Boo-Boo. Big stretches. There he is. There you go. Hi, Bubby. Not my mouth. Bronx is good, guys. Okay, say bye-bye. There you go. There's Bronxy for you. All right, guys, I'm going to hop off. You guys have a great night. I will see you on Thursday this week. Bye, guys.